Error proof, the dirtiest trick to seduce any woman. They'll never teach you this in school, because this isn't about pickup lines or cheesy compliments. It's about a dirty trick, used by men who understand female psychology so deeply that rejection becomes irrelevant. This is what happens when a man embodies stoicism, has emotional control, and moves with masculine presence, not noise. No second chances. You either do this right, or stay invisible to her forever. You're about to learn the only error-proof method that silently bypasses her defenses and speaks directly to her primal instincts. And here's the kicker. If you miss even one part of this, you'll keep wondering why she feels something's off and pulls away without a word. If this message stirs something in you, if it makes you reflect or remember a moment when you felt powerless, consider liking, sharing, or even commenting. It might just reach someone who needs it more than you know. This isn't manipulation, it's awareness. And once you see it, there's no unseeing it. Let's begin with the foundation of this dynamic. The real reason why this dirty trick works, and why most men never see it coming. Most men think seduction is a performance. They believe it's about what they say, what they wear, or what moves they pull. But the real power lies in what they don't show, what they withhold. You see, when a man operates from a place of masculine frame, every move is intentional, and that's where the dirtiest trick lives. Not in being louder, but in being still. It's about creating tension, not comfort. Women feel it, even if they can't explain it. That's where curiosity is born, and where attraction ignites. This trick isn't taught in books because it's not a technique, it's a state of being. When you exude stoic energy and master emotional control, something shifts. You walk into a room and don't seek approval. You're not chasing, you're choosing. And that flips her world upside down. It's subtle, almost invisible, but it hits like lightning. And here's the unsettling truth. Most men never even realize this game is being played on a psychological level. That's why they lose, without knowing why. Have you ever watched a woman lock eyes with a man, and without a word, something happens? That spark? That magnetic silence? That's not luck, it's behavioral cues, deeply tied to female psychology. It's the result of a man who isn't trying to impress, but who embodies natural confidence. She doesn't fall for effort, she falls for energy. The moment you grasp this, you stop chasing validation. And ironically, that's when you become absolutely unforgettable. This dirty trick works because it's counterintuitive. Most men were trained to show up, to prove, to please, to perform. But seduction doesn't happen through effort. It happens through strategic flirting, subtle withdrawal, and covert influence. It's about pulling back just enough to make her lean in. And when you do that from a place of inner game, you make her curious. Not desperate, but willing. And that makes all the difference. You're no longer the nice guy. You're the man she can't quite figure out. Here's what throws most men off. They think dominance is about control, but real dominance is about emotional stillness. It's not aggressive, it's grounded. Women are hypersensitive to emotional triggers. They can feel when a man is anchored in his male power versus when he's performing strength he doesn't possess. That difference? It's visceral. She feels safe, but challenged. Seen, but not owned. That's what makes it irresistible. You don't become the best option. You become the only one she craves. Now picture this. You're talking to her, and you say less than usual. Your voice slows. You hold silence longer. You let your gaze linger, not to intimidate, but to observe. She starts adjusting her hair, laughing a little louder, asking more questions. Why? Because your masculine presence just flipped the polarity. You stopped seeking and started pulling. This is where sexual dynamics come alive. You've activated the sexual polarity, and now she's feeling something she hasn't felt in a while. Mystery. Let me tell you a quick story. There was a guy named Chris, tech job, smart, well-groomed, but invisible to women. He talked too much, explained too much, smiled too much. Until one day, he stumbled upon a podcast on attraction psychology. Something clicked. He stopped over-explaining, spoke less, became more intentional. At a dinner party, he said almost nothing, but he looked. He held space. A woman approached him first. That night, everything changed. He wasn't different physically, but energetically, he was unrecognizable. Chris didn't learn a new pickup line. He learned stoicism, the art of remaining grounded when everyone else is chasing reactions. His transformation wasn't loud, it was internal, and that's what made it real. When a man develops mental strength, he becomes less reactive to her moods and more in tune with his mission. And here's the twist. Women are biologically wired to test for this, not consciously, but instinctively. The moment she senses you flinch emotionally, she files you under forgettable. This is the heart of the dirtiest trick. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be centered. When she can't read you like an open book, you become a mystery. And mystery breeds desire. That's why nonverbal game is more powerful than scripted routines. Your walk, your stillness, the way you hold a pause, these things speak louder than compliments. And when those signals align with your alpha mindset, she doesn't just notice you. She tunes into you like a signal she can't block. Let's go deeper. Most guys leak their intentions. They compliment too soon, laugh too quickly, respond too fast. That's not confidence, it's fear of losing her attention. But when you've mastered emotional leverage, you know the power of timing. You don't rush the interaction. You let it simmer, you hold the tension. And suddenly, she's wondering why she's the one feeling nervous. That's seduction mastery, not chasing her, but making her feel chosen. That shift, it's pure psychological fire. Men who embody this don't talk about being high-value men. They show it through presence. When you understand social calibration, you stop trying to impress everyone. You say what matters when it matters. You lean back, not forward. You don't reveal your entire life in one breath. You protect your mystery like treasure. And guess what? Women lean into that. They want to uncover your layers. Not because you're hiding, but because you've mastered the art of being just out of reach. And here's something you probably didn't expect. This trick has nothing to do with looks. Women aren't scanning your jawline. They're feeling your masculine frame. They're testing how you handle silence, how you respond to subtle jabs. Do you flinch, defend, apologize too soon, or do you smile slightly and hold your ground? That's the kind of sexual magnetism no gym membership can buy. It's not found in your abs. It's found in your inner game. Want to know a quick shift you can make right now? Start practicing intentional pauses. When she asks a question, don't rush to fill the silence. Take 2 seconds, breathe, then answer slowly. This alone triggers a primal response in her brain. He's not desperate. It signals dominance and emotional control. It shows you're not trying to manage the moment, you're letting her feel it. That space you create, that's where attraction psychology lives. And most men never dare to use it. Now picture this. 2 guys approach the same woman. One cracks jokes, talks nonstop, leans in. The other listens, speaks when he wants to, and never loses posture. Guess who she feels more around? It's not the clown, it's the calm one, the one who radiates male power. That's because women don't just hear your words, they feel your energy. And when your energy says, I don't need you to choose me, she starts wondering why she wants to. There's a reason women get bored of nice guys. It's not that kindness repels them, it's that passivity kills tension. When a man lacks sexual polarity, she feels it in her body before her mind catches up. He may say all the right things, but something's missing. That spark, that charge. That unspoken dance between pull and resistance. The dirty trick isn't about being mean, it's about owning your edge, your willingness to lead without overstepping. That's the gateway to strategic flirting that actually works. You don't have to be cold or distant. You just have to stop being predictable. Predictability kills desire. When she knows what you'll say, when you'll text, how you'll respond, there's no tension. But when you surprise her with presence, when your rhythm isn't based on her validation, you reclaim your masculine presence. That shift creates polarity. It's not emotional manipulation, it's emotional mastery. And yes, she'll feel it instantly, even if she pretends not to. And here, a quick pause. Because if all of this is opening your eyes to how attraction really works, if you're realizing you've been doing things backwards your whole life, then this is your moment. Don't scroll past this. Don't save it for later. Hit that like button right now and subscribe to the channel, because what's coming next will flip your understanding of relationships on its head. You're not just learning to seduce, you're learning to lead, to own your space, to stop apologizing for your masculine frame, and we're just getting warmed up. Let's strip away the fantasy. Most men operate from reaction, not intention. They mirror her mood, adapt to her whims, and tiptoe around her validation system. That's not leadership, that's quiet submission. And it kills desire. A man rooted in stoic energy doesn't bend to emotional storms, he anchors. And from that place, he doesn't seduce with words. He seduces with presence. The difference is felt instantly. It's not about doing more, it's about removing the noise and letting your stillness speak for itself. Ever notice how some men barely talk, yet women lean in to listen? That's the power of nonverbal game. The raised eyebrow, the slow nod, the pause before responding. These small movements radiate power. Why? Because they communicate emotional control. In a world drowning in overexposure and noise, silence is seductive. It signals security. It shows you don't need the spotlight. You own it by not chasing it. That's how you create curiosity without begging for attention. And here's the thing. This isn't about pretending. If you fake alpha mindset, she'll sense it. Fast. Women are biologically attuned to inauthentic behavior. That's why developing your inner game matters more than memorizing strategies. You must become the man who doesn't seek approval, who isn't shaken by silence, who doesn't collapse under pressure, This isn't a show, it's a shift in energy. And when it's real, it changes how you walk, talk, and move. That's when attraction becomes automatic. So how do you get there? Practice discomfort. Seriously. Put yourself in situations where you don't have control and stay grounded. Cold showers, eye contact with strangers, public speaking. Every time you hold your masculine frame under pressure, you train your nervous system to lead, not follow. And guess what? That's the foundation of seduction tactics that don't rely on tricks. They rely on who you are and who you're becoming. Women don't want a perfect man. They want a man who doesn't need to be perfect. Let's take a moment to talk about your voice. Not what you say, but how you say it. A slow, deliberate voice triggers behavioral cues in her brain tied to authority and control. Think less speed, more weight. Don't fill space. Own it. Practice speaking slower in daily life. Pause before answering. Drop the pitch slightly. This activates sexual dynamics she doesn't fully understand, but can't resist. Remember, attraction isn't built on logic. It's built on what her body feels before her brain rationalizes it. Women live in their emotions. That's not an insult, it's a compass. If you can learn to navigate her emotional climate without being pulled into it, you've mastered covert influence. You don't react when she's testing you. You stay grounded, calm, even amused. That moment of restraint signals everything. It's not that you don't feel, it's that you don't collapse. That's mental strength in motion. And it's rare, which is why it's so damn attractive when she finds it. One of the simplest things you can start doing today, delay your responses. Whether it's a text, a smile, or a reply, don't rush. That pause, that half-second delay creates space. In that space lives emotional leverage. It's where you signal that you're not running on instinct. You're operating with intention. She notices it, even if she can't explain why it turns her on. And here's the kicker. The more grounded you are in this principle, the less effort you need to attract her. Presence does the heavy lifting. There's a moment in every interaction where most men lose her, and they don't even know it. It's the moment they over-explain, try too hard, or overreact to a test. She may smile, nod, even kiss him later. But in her mind, something shut off. She clocked his energy and filed it as weak. That's why the most lethal form of seduction mastery is in what you don't say, what you let her wonder about. Let her fill in the blanks. That's real attraction psychology. She doesn't fall for the man who solves her instantly. She falls for the one who knows when to pause, who lets her sit with uncertainty, who can say no with a smile. That's dominance, not through pressure, but through emotional control. It shows a level of internal strength that shakes her assumptions. She doesn't get to run the show, and suddenly she's intrigued. That's the sexual polarity she didn't know she missed, and now she can't look away. The beauty of this dirty trick is that it's not dirty at all. It's clean, precise, and rooted in timeless truths. The trick is Stoicism, the kind that makes your attention feel earned, not given away. It's what separates boys from men, and women, consciously or not, can sense that boundary. They'll push it. They'll test it. Not because they're cruel, but because they're wired to seek strength. And if you crumble, the game's over before it begins. Imagine this. You're on a date. She talks about her ex. Most guys would get awkward, jealous, maybe even try to outdo him. But you sip your drink, nod, maybe smirk. You change the subject. You don't compete. You lead. That tiny moment speaks volumes. It says, I'm not here to chase. I'm here to choose. That single act activates more sexual magnetism than hours of compliments, because you've shown her your male power without needing to say a word. Let's be clear. High-value men don't rely on hope. They rely on calibration. They understand when to pull back, when to lean in, and when to disappear completely. They move with social calibration, not emotional desperation. That balance, it's felt. And it creates mystery. That's why the loudest guy in the room often goes home alone, and the quietest one? He leaves with her number, her mind, and her attention for days. Stillness, not showmanship, wins the game. And here's a practical move. When you're talking to her, focus more on feeling than on phrasing. Drop the performance. Instead of saying what you think she wants to hear, speak what you believe, slowly, with weight. This shows natural confidence. And if she challenges you, smile. Don't explain. That subtle smirk communicates inner game stronger than a monologue ever could. She'll feel the shift instantly, and likely mirror it without realizing. Now, she's chasing clarity in you. You've probably heard the phrase, less is more. In seduction, it's not a cliche, it's law. Less words, less need, less noise, more presence, more grounding, more edge. That's where the real strategic flirting begins. Not through lines, but through energy, through contrast. You don't need to win her over. You need to make her feel something she can't control. And when you master that, you stop worrying about being chosen. You become the one doing the choosing. Most men want clarity from women. They want certainty. But the man who truly wins in female psychology is the one who embraces ambiguity and controls the space within it. He doesn't ask, "What are we?" He creates a dynamic where she's wondering, "What are we becoming?" That's emotional leverage in its most elegant form. You're not offering answers, you're offering experiences. In that space of subtle tension, that's where seduction tactics do their finest work. You don't need to become someone else. You need to become more of yourself with discipline, with restraint, with clarity. The more grounded you are in your masculine frame, the less effort you need to impress. Women don't want chaos, they want contrast. And a man rooted in mental strength is the contrast to their emotional world. Not cold, not robotic, just steady. That steadiness becomes addictive, because in a world of volatility, he becomes her anchor and her escape. The dirtiest trick isn't manipulation, it's alignment. Alignment with your values, your rhythm, your silence. It's about entering a room without needing anything and leaving with everything. Because you didn't chase, you pulled. You didn't speak to be heard, you allowed her to hear herself in your stillness. That's covert influence at its purest. No noise, no games. Just a man who leads with silence and watches the world respond. And when she leans in, when she asks about you, and when her eyes linger just a little longer than before, know this: you didn't trick her, you reminded her of what it feels like to be in the presence of a man who knows who he is. A man who walks in stoic energy, carries natural confidence, and wields sexual magnetism without needing permission. That's the kind of man who doesn't ask for attraction. He becomes its source. Now it's your move. What are you going to do with all of this? Will you keep falling into the same patterns? Or will you finally flip the script? You've just seen how masculine presence, emotional control, and sexual polarity create a ripple effect you can't unlearn. So here's the question. Are you still performing for her? Or are you finally becoming the man who doesn't need to? Drop your answer in the comments. In fact, if this hit home for you, write this phrase below: I choose to lead, not perform. Let's see who's really stepping into that frame. Thank you, sincerely, for staying with me through this entire video. That already tells me you're not like most men. Now, if this resonated with you even a little, show your support. Like the video, share it with a brother who's still in the dark, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another lesson like this. Because this is only the beginning.